At least 57 Palestinians seeking aid have been killed and more than 363 injured by Israel since this morning, bringing the total number of Palestinians killed at these so-called aid distribution centers to 224, with more than 1,800 others injured, according to Gaza's Ministry of Health. It is clear that these so-called aid distribution centers have been nothing more than a trap for Palestinians who have been forced into famine for months. To discuss all of this and more, I'm joined by fellow Gazan and Pulitzer Prize-winning Palestinian poet and author, Mosab Abu Toha. Mosab, thank you very much for joining me today.
It's so great to see you, Ahmed. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So, Mosab, before we go to discuss this topic, I would like to play two videos for you. One of the shooting that happened at the aid distribution center yesterday, and the other one with new footage that came out today. So here are the videos. And now the second clip.
Ship left! Read ship left! Read! Read ship left! Read ship left! No, this way, this way, this way. No, no, this way, this way. This way, this way. Love you, brother. Hey.
So Musab, you and I are from Gaza. These people that we are watching in these videos are our brothers, our sisters, our parents, our neighbors, our friends. And now you and I have been lucky enough to be living outside, but every day we're watching the same videos for the past 20 months, the same videos of our people in Gaza being humiliated in this way. And not only humiliated, not only starved, but also being shot at and killed on a daily basis while they're only trying to get and collect some food to feed their children. So tell me, when you watch these videos, what did come to your mind?
Ahmed, it's really very painful. I mean, not only is this painful for the people of Gaza, to run after food while they are starved. So these people are not only running after food aid, they are themselves, they are tired, they are sick, many of them were wounded, many of them are disabled. So it's not only painful for us to watch them, they are themselves in pain. This is not only painful, this is dehumanizing. This is also humiliating, as you said. I am lucky to be here, but also at the same time, we are all living in countries that are supporting this genocide. When I talk to my family in Gaza, when I talk to my friends, they expect that I am able to do something from there because I am there. And sometimes I stop calling my friends because I know, I was on a call 2 days ago with a friend of mine, a neighbor also, who was shot in the foot on June 1st. And when I talked to him, he was still at the hospital. And before I hung up the phone, he said, Musab. I said, yes. He said, my 5 children are in the tent right now and they don't have food. And he paused, he didn't say, and he expected me to say, oh yes, I will get them food. I really paused for a few seconds. I didn't have the words to tell him that I can't do anything, even though I'm here in the States. If even Ahmed, you are in the United Kingdom, you know. So it is very painful for me to watch. It is very painful for me to listen to their stories. Every time I want to talk to them, they bring up more and more of the stories that they lived through in the past few days. So this is not only about, this genocide is not only committed against the Palestinian people, whether by killing them, whether by starving them, whether by depriving them of their human rights, for example, access to hospitals, access to education, access to clean water. But it is also a genocide this is something that not a lot of people think about. This is a genocide against our humanity as people who are watching this. When we know, not only are we watching this, we know at the same time that our governments, I mean, I'm not an American, neither are you British, but I mean, we live in countries that are not only complicit, they are partners in this genocide. They are funding Israel with weapons, with food, with anything, even diplomatically. When the UK abstained from some of the votes that were calling for ceasefire, the last UN draft resolution was vetoed by the US. So we are being genocided as we are watching this hundreds and thousands of miles and kilometers away from Gaza.
I totally agree with you, Mosab. And you know, while you were speaking, I remembered many of my friends who came out to me during the past 20 months. And one of the most horrific stories that I heard is that one of my friends who has always been very well off, who has always been very rich, like compared to the people in Gaza.
Yeah.
And they were one of the most privileged people in Gaza. And a few days ago, I heard that he tried to commit suicide. Do you know why? Because 5 of his children were starving and he could not feed them. Another friend of mine, he came out to me a few days ago and he told me, and he talked to me for the first time in 10 years. The last time I met him was 10 years ago, and he was one of the smartest in my school. And he told me, Ahmed, I just escaped death. I told him what happened. He told me he was just trying to collect some flour for his children. He told me for the past 3 months, he could not get any piece of bread for his children. And while he was there, he was injured and he almost died because he was hit in the head. And these stories are horrific, but they're never ending. It's continuous.
Yeah.
It happens every single day. And we're watching from far. And then at the same time, we see that the Israelis, when we talk to some, when we talk in the media and we see them in the media, they say that they have this aid distribution centers that where they're feeding the Palestinians. And they're bragging about their humanity as they feed the Palestinian people. But we have seen how they feed the Palestinian people. These are not aid distribution centers. These are death traps. So allow me to ask you, Mosab, who is running these sites? What do we know about them?
Well, we know that this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, it is so-called humanitarian. There is nothing humanitarian about it, of course, because this is very important. When you want to do humanitarian work, you deliver this food to people. You don't ask them to come to areas where they can't. There is no. This is important. There is no transportation in Gaza. So how are people supposed to go to Rafah from Beit Lahiya or from Beit Hanun or from even Gaza City? They have to walk or find some way to walk for about 30 kilometers. So these people, even on normal days, they can't walk this long distance. So there is no transportation. People are very tired. They can't walk. I mean, some of my friends and family members tell me that sometimes they pass out because they are very tired. They are very fragile, right? So this so-called humanitarian foundation, it's not a humanitarian because if you want to do humanitarian work, you deliver the food to the people who need it. You don't ask them to come to Rafah or to Khan Yunis or to Nusayrat when we know that there are Israeli soldiers near these sites. So these are the big two problems with this so-called humanitarian sites or distribution sites.
Yes.
First of all, food should be delivered to people who need it. Second, there shouldn't be any military presence in the area. And we know from the start that this is going to happen. So we know that this foundation is backed and supported by Israel and the US. And we know that Israel and the US do not care about Palestinian people. They do not care about the Palestinian people.
I think it's underestimation when we say they don't care about the Palestinian people. They hate the Palestinian people. They want the Palestinian people to die. And the Palestinians in Gaza, they know that these aid distribution centers, they are surrounded by Israeli soldiers, and that these Israeli soldiers are shooting at the Palestinians. And every day 20 or 30 or 50 Palestinians get shot and killed while they're collecting their food. But yet the Palestinians continue to go there.
Yes,
Do you know why?
This is the tragedy.
Because there's no other option. These people are starving and they know they're going to die anyway. If they don't go and try to get some food parcels, they're gonna die starving. And unfortunately, the Palestinians don't have any option. But what I am really wondering, and have been thinking about all this time, when this work started, the work of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation started, is that the Israelis know that the Palestinians, most Palestinians now, they have smartphones. They can record and film what's happening in Gaza. And they know that when the Israelis start shooting at the Palestinians will take these videos that we just watched.
Yeah.
But the Israelis don't care. And they keep on shooting at the Palestinians, knowing that the world is watching them shoot the Palestinians who are starving. So my question is, what is their mega plan? What they are trying to achieve by shooting these Palestinians?
Well, I mean, they have no problem killing Palestinians. They have no problem having these Palestinians video recorded while as they are shot and killed. They have no problem with the world watching this. They have no problem with the world criticizing them because they have every means to continue doing this because the US is backing them, vetoing any draft resolution for a ceasefire. And they know that the United States and so many other countries are going to send more weapons. So why would the country stop using and firing at people when they know that more and more bullets are coming on the way? Why should they worry? And when did we see any Israeli soldier or an Israeli official, tried in a court for the war crimes that they have been committing? And even the war crimes, Ahmed, these are not documented by the Palestinian people. These are crimes that are documented by Israeli soldiers, and they post them on their social media. So I've never seen any. I mean, as far as I know, I don't know of any other genocide or war crimes that are documented by both the victims and the victimizers. So they know that they can run away with it. They can kill, and not only they kill, and they let the videos be shared on social media. But then they said, well, we are not responsible for this, because there is Hamas hiding under the flour sacks, Hamas hiding beneath the sea. They are hiding in the hospitals. They are hiding everywhere. Hamas is like here; it's everywhere. So they are responsible for the death of everyone in Gaza, even the children who are not yet born. It is Hamas's fault. As if Hamas was started in 1948 or in 1917. I don't know. So they want to focus on Hamas and its role in the Palestinian-Israeli struggle. But they always ignore, the root cause of all of this, not the Palestinian catastrophe of 1940. No one is talking about 1948. No one is talking about the expansion of Israeli settlements and the illegal occupation. This isn't bad. Nowadays, they justify the expansion of settlements. This is Judea and Samaria. Even the American ambassador to Israel, he said that this is Judea and Samaria. So it's not only Israel who is justifying what it's doing, but also the US, who is supposed to be, the power in the world.
And speaking of this American ambassador to Israel, I think a few days ago he said that it's not in the US interest to establish a Palestinian state at all in the West Bank. So it's been clear.
This is what the Israeli officials say, and now we hear the American ambassador say it. So I don't know. I'm not right now. You can't distinguish between an Israeli official and an American official.
Yeah, of course.
It's like the same propaganda, the same talking points.
My friend Vijay Prashad, he said that Israel and the US and Israel and the West are like hand in glove. You can't separate them. They're the same thing, the same colonizing powers that want to destroy the Palestinian people. And then, as you just mentioned, the world is watching, and Israel is committing all of these war crimes, this genocide, and the world is watching. No one is trying to stop the genocide. And then, suddenly, we see 12 activists coming from Europe, sailing their boat, Madeleine, to Gaza, trying to break the siege in Gaza. And then Israel, of course, intercepts the boats, take it out, deport the activists and confiscate the ship. But then you tweeted
They abducted them from international waters even.
Of course, but yeah, who cares? It's Israel who does that
international
anyway.
one.
But what interested me the most is that you tweeted after that saying 1,000 Madeleines boats start today, every day.
Yeah.
Explain this tweet to me.
Well, I mean, it's not enough that that only 12 activists go on a mission like this. We need more and more Madeleine boats sailing towards Gaza, because there are 2 million people in Gaza who need 1,000 boats every day. If the UN, if the United States, if the Arab countries around Gaza are unable to let in aid go to the people who have been starving, half of the population in Gaza are children, then because people are the power, this world does not belong to governments, it belongs to the people. And we need to help each other. When governments fail, people sail, as they say. So we need 1,000 Madeleine boats, and from different nationalities. What we need, other than the 1,000 boats every day, we need American boats, going to Gaza, because we know that America is the biggest supporter of Israel and its genocide. So we need more American presence in the sea going to Gaza. So it is not, I think, enough for one boat to sail to Gaza. This was a symbolic attempt, and it was successful in drawing the attention to Israel's barbarism by abducting these 12 activists from international waters. And these activists and humanitarians were going to Gaza. They were not going through Israel. Then they abducted them, dragged them and their boat to Israel, and they wanted to deport them. But they did not go to Israel for you to deport them from there. They did not enter illegally to your country. And it's not your country. This is a Palestinian sea. And these people were coming not only to provide some humanitarian aid, but they were standing up for the humanity that has been failed for at least 20 months. Because I don't want to talk about standing up for justice when we talk about the genocide. It's about standing up for humanity that failed the Palestinian people for at least 77 years. Right? So these people set an example, and they should be followed by more and more boats. Israel should not be allowed to stop individuals from going to Gaza to help other people like them.
So these 12 activists, they were individuals, and they tried to break this illegal siege on Gaza. But what we want to see really is governments, states coming, intervening and trying to break the siege in Gaza. And I want to ask you, Mosab, what do you want to see what do you really want to see from the international community? And did you really lose hope that the governments might intervene and try to stop the genocide?
Yeah. So Ahmed, I think there are 2 elements here. The first of all, governments should intervene, to protect the Palestinian people who are not only going through a genocide, but also who have been living under occupation for 77 years. So Israel is a state. It is a recognized state in the UN. And they are occupying a people. Palestine is not a state. It's not recognized as a state. We do not control our borders. We do not have seaports. We do not have airports. So we are not literally a state, although we deserve a state on our own land. But so this state is attacking a population. Half of the population in Gaza are children. So these states are partners in this genocide, because they are not only sending weapons to Israel or covering for it diplomatically. So that's why it falls on them to protect the Palestinian people by not sending more and more weapons to Israel, by providing Palestinian people with the food and the aid and also medicine. By the way, we talk about the starvation. We forget to talk about the medicine.
Of course.
But so many of my loved ones are sick. So many of the people who were injured, they scream with pain because there are no painkillers or antibiotics for them to heal. So we want, of course, to see states, intervening, but we also want to see the UN, the United Nations, intervening. If they can't intervene militarily, they should at least accompany boats who are trying to deliver aid to Gaza. So this Madeleine boat should have been accompanied by a UN boat. It should have security people on the boat trying to protect these people who are sailing in international waters. It is legal to go to Gaza. There is nothing that's called naval blockade. It's not Israel who is occupying our land and sky and also the sea. So this should not happen. And as I said, the UN should play a role in this. If they can deliver food to Gaza because Israel is blocking the land crossings in Gaza, they should. The UN, it's two main organizations, the World Food Program and the World Health Organization. They should have their own ships, to deliver food and medicine to the people in Gaza in the sea. And they should be accompanied, escorted by military ships whose aim are to protect, not to attack anyone, but just to protect these ships and boats to make sure that they dock in Gaza. So also, Ahmed, I want to talk about, those who were trying to mock the Madeleine boat, saying that this is a show up, this is a show, this is a selfie yacht, which is ridiculous. These accusations are ridiculous. What we want to see is that these people who are ridiculing the Madeleine boat and the humanitarians on board before it was abducted, what we want is to see them doing something that really makes sense to them and to everyone. And I would like here to see the journalists who have been ridiculing and making fun of the boat and the people on it, to sail on their own boat to try to come to Gaza, because Israel has been denying the international media from coming to Gaza. Why don't these journalists who have been making fun of the boat and the people on it, why don't they sail in their own boat and come to Gaza to cover what's happening? This is what is important. We need to see journalist boats coming to Gaza, other than aid boats, other than medicine boats. We need journalists boats coming to Gaza to cover what's happening and just to document their journeys, how they are going to be abducted, how they are treated, why are they unable to make it to Gaza.
Unfortunately, the only journalists that we've seen in Gaza were embeds in the Israeli army. That's really horrific, and we need journalists who are really principled and neutral, if they want to call themselves a neutral, to come to Gaza, go to the Rafah border, or go to Erez border, and force your way to Gaza. If you really care about the truth, force your way to Gaza, come to Gaza and report the truth.
And there is one big lie, Ahmed, when they talk about the Israelis. They said, it is not safe for these people to be there because the Israeli army is carrying out operation, blah, blah. And then they came up with a new lie, which is that Hamas would kill these people. Look, they will kill them. They kill their own people. But come on, in the past, in the 2014 Israeli war on Gaza, there were journalists. Every time there were journalists coming to Gaza. No one was abducted. No one was killed. They were doing their work. And I was going out with some of these journalists, helping them with translations. And no one, not from anywhere in Gaza, was asking us what we were doing, what we were writing, nothing. So this is a big lie, because we know what Israel is hiding.
No, I think the Israelis are not lying when they say that it's not safe for journalists to go to Gaza, because they know that Israel itself will go after the journalists and kill them, whether they were international or Palestinian journalists. Israel's biggest enemy is not Hamas, it is the truth. And that's why they made sure from the very beginning that no international journalists stay in Gaza. And those who are Palestinian journalists, they made sure that they kill as many of them as possible. So of course it's not safe for journalists to stay in Gaza.
So for me, Ahmed, one last point. For me, Ahmed, there are two main reasons why Israel doesn't allow international journalists. One is that they don't want these journalists to share what they are seeing. And second of all, they know that these journalists will be killed by an Israeli airstrike, just like they killed the World Central Kitchen people, just like they bombed UN vehicles, just like they killed so many other people who are international without realizing that they killed them. Sometimes they know, sometimes. So the intensity of these airstrikes, sometimes they target these people. They know that many of these journalists, will be killed in airstrikes, whether Israel knowing or not knowing that.
Yeah, because they're bombing Gaza indiscriminately.
Yes.
All the time.
Discriminately and indiscriminately.
Yes.
Sometimes these massacres that they are carrying out, it is deliberate. Why? Because they want to scare people to leave a place. Or they want to just kill Palestinians because there is no one who is innocent in Gaza, as many of their officials announced before.
Unfortunately, now the navies, the Western navies, are not coming to protect these activist ships, but they're intervening in the genocide in Gaza. Unfortunately, since the beginning of the genocide, we've seen the U.S. carriers coming to terrorize the Middle East and to support the Israeli army as they continue to carry out the genocide in Gaza. My last question for you, Mosab, do you still have any faith left on the states to stop the genocide?
In states, it's very difficult because if there was any hope, I mean, the hope starts when people recognize you as a people, not only as individuals. I don't want people to recognize me as Musab, as someone who has gone through this and that. I want people to recognize that this is a collective suffering. And if this happens, when states like Spain, like Norway and other countries recognize the Palestinian state, they should recognize it not only as people who needs to live in a country, but people who have rights, fundamental rights. If these countries start to talk about Palestinian rights that are protected under the international and humanitarian law, then I see hope. But it is not enough that you are recognizing me. I recognize that Ahmed exists, that Ahmed lives in the United Kingdom. But what is more important is that this person, these Palestinian people, they have the right not only to exist, but they have also the right to defend their existence. This is what is lacking when it comes to recognition. It's not enough that I recognize you as a human being, but I recognize you as someone who has the right to exist, who has the right to live, and who has the right to defend himself against any one who is attacking you or taking away from you things that belong to you. So if this happens, if these states talk about the Palestinian people's right to exist on their own land, as well as their right to defend their right to exist on their own land, then there is hope. But just talking about, recognizing people's rights to exist, it's meaningless to me. We have the right to exist as Palestinian people, and we have the right, just like any other people, to defend our own existence on our land.
And whether these states recognize the Palestinian state and the Palestinian people and their rights or not, we, the Palestinian people, we know that we exist. We know that we have our rights, our dignity, our rights to resist the occupation, and our right to defend ourselves. Mosab Abu Toha, thank you very, very much for joining me today.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Ahmed. Thank you. And thanks to the Palestine Deep Dive. Appreciate your work.
Thank you very much.